The moment you reveal certain things about yourself, the power dynamic shifts, and it never shifts back. A CEO was giving a keynote speech at an industry conference. Successful company, 8 years of consistent growth, impressive revenue trajectory, respected leader in his field. Everyone in that room looked up to him. Everyone wanted to be him. Then he made one decision that changed everything. He decided to be vulnerable and share his personal struggle with imposter syndrome. He told the audience of 500 people that despite all his success, he sometimes felt like a fraud, that he questioned whether he truly deserved to be where he was, that late at night, he wondered if people would discover he wasn't as capable as they thought. The audience gave him a standing ovation. The clip went viral on LinkedIn within hours. 10,000 shares, 15,000 likes, 20,000 comments. Thought leaders praised his authenticity and courage. The comments section exploded with, "Finally, a CEO who's real. This is the leadership we need. So brave to admit this." His mentions flooded with positivity. His follower count jumped by 50,000 overnight. He felt validated. He felt seen. He felt like he'd done something important. 6 months later, everything changed. During a critical board meeting where tens of millions of dollars hung in the balance, where the future direction of his company was being decided, he pushed back hard on a strategic decision he knew in his gut was wrong. The data didn't support it. The market wasn't ready. The risk was too high. He laid out his case methodically, professionally, backed by research and analysis. The room went quiet. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Then one board member, the one who had proposed the flawed strategy, leaned forward. He steepled his fingers. He looked directly at the CEO, and he said with a slight smile, "Is this your imposter syndrome talking, or do you have an actual argument?" His own vulnerability, weaponized against him. His own confession, turned into a knife. His own words, used to dismiss his judgment at the exact moment his judgment mattered most. The board approved the flawed strategy. The CEO's objection was filed away as insecurity rather than insight. The strategy failed 8 months later, costing the company $42 million and 17% of its market value. And although it was the board's decision, the CEO's credibility never fully recovered. Because now, every time he expressed concern about anything, someone would wonder, is this legitimate strategic thinking? Or is this his imposter syndrome? Here's the brutal truth about vulnerability that the self-help industry won't tell you. Context matters. Audience matters. Power dynamics matter desperately. What builds connection with friends destroys authority with gatekeepers. What creates intimacy in peer relationships creates liability in hierarchies. What earns you applause on social media can cost you millions in the boardroom. Every piece of information you reveal about yourself changes how people see you. And once they see you differently, they can never unsee it. Your past failures, your current struggles, your future fears, your insecurities, your weaknesses, your secrets. These aren't just facts about you. They're not just your personal truth. They're ammunition that can be loaded into a weapon and fired at you at the exact moment you're most vulnerable. There are 7 specific things that once revealed can never be unrevealed. 7 categories of personal information that fundamentally alter your status, your opportunities, your trajectory, and how people treat you in moments that actually matter. 7 things that seem harmless, even admirable, to share, but are actually strategic suicide in competitive environments. And if you've been sharing them freely, in the name of authenticity, in the name of being real, in the name of vulnerable leadership, you've been systematically disarming yourself in a world where information is power, and everyone else is keeping their cards close to their chest. Today, we're exposing what those 7 things are, why your psychology and your biology push you to overshare them, and how to build strategic opacity, how to protect your power without becoming fake, closed off, or inauthentic. This is going to make you uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is awareness. Let's begin. So before we expose the 7 things, you need to understand why you do this, why you reveal too much, why the urge to share feels so powerful, so righteous, so necessary, that it overrides your strategic thinking. It starts with biology, with evolution, with survival programming that's 10,000 years old running on hardware that hasn't been updated for the modern world. For 99% of human history, we lived in small tribes, 50 people, maybe 150 at most. Everyone knew everyone. There were no strangers. There was no anonymity. There was no such thing as professional distance. And in that environment, information sharing equaled trust. Building equaled survival. If I show you my vulnerability, if I reveal my fears and struggles, and you don't kill me or abandon me, then we bond. Then we trust each other. Then we have each other's backs when the lion attacks, or the neighboring tribe raids, or the winter comes and food gets scarce. Vulnerability was the mechanism for creating the social bonds that kept you alive. It was adaptive. It was necessary. It worked. But here's the problem. You're not in a tribe of 50 anymore. You're in a world of 8 billion people. You're surrounded by strangers every single day. You're in massive, anonymous, brutally competitive environments where people you've never met are making decisions about your career, your income, your opportunities, your future. You're in hierarchies with thousands of people where status matters more than trust, where perception matters more than reality, where strategic information is currency and vulnerability is debt. But your brain? Your brain is still running tribal software. Your nervous system still thinks you're sitting around that campfire with your 50 people who love you unconditionally. So when someone asks you a personal question, when someone creates a moment of seeming intimacy, your ancient programming kicks in and screams, share, bond, trust, survive. And you share. And you think you're building connection. And in your brain, dopamine releases because you've successfully executed the tribal bonding protocol. But you're not building connection. You're creating liability. Because the person you're sharing with isn't your tribe member. They're your competitor, your potential enemy. Someone who will use that information to position themselves above you in the hierarchy. Someone who will file away what you revealed and pull it out when they need leverage. And it gets worse. Because modern culture, social media, self-help industry, thought leaders, influencers, they've built an entire economy around encouraging you to overshare. Your mess is your message, they say. Vulnerability is a superpower, they promise. Authenticity is the key to connection, they proclaim. And they're not wrong, in the right context, with the right people, in relationships that are actually intimate and reciprocal and safe. But they've taken a principle that works in one context and sold it as universal truth that applies everywhere. They've convinced you that you should be equally vulnerable with your 3 best friends and 3,000 LinkedIn connections. That the same openness you have with your therapist should extend to your colleagues. That sharing your deepest struggles publicly is brave rather than strategically catastrophic. And you know why they push this narrative so hard? Because their business model depends on your oversharing. The more you reveal, the more you engage. The more you engage, the more they profit. Your vulnerability is their content. Your confession is their click-through rate. Your authenticity is their algorithm boost. And here's the neurological hook that keeps you doing it. When you share something vulnerable and people respond positively, when they like it, when they comment supportively, when they praise your bravery, your brain releases dopamine. You feel seen. You feel validated. You feel connected. It's a genuine high. It's real neurological reward. And like any reward, it's addictive. So you do it again and again. Each time, seeking that hit. Each time, trading long-term strategic position for short-term emotional validation. each time giving away pieces of your power in exchange for the feeling of being understood. Now, I want to be very clear about something, because nuance matters. Intimacy requires vulnerability. Real relationships, deep friendships, romantic partnerships, family bonds, these cannot exist without mutual vulnerability, without shared struggles, without seeing and being seen. But here's what most people miss. Intimacy strategies and power strategies are different. They serve different purposes. They operate in different contexts. They have different rules. With your intimate circle, your partner, your best friend, your therapist, vulnerability creates depth. With your competitive circle, your industry, your company, your professional network, vulnerability creates liability. The mistake that destroys people is using intimacy strategies in power contexts. Treating your LinkedIn connections like your inner circle. Treating your colleagues like your best friends. Treating public platforms like therapy sessions. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." He wasn't advocating dishonesty. He was advocating strategic wisdom. He was saying, you control what you show the world. Most people should see your competence, your strength, your capability. Only the very few who have earned deep trust should see your doubts, your fears, your weaknesses. So, with that foundation, with that understanding of why your biology betrays you, why culture encourages you to overshare, why the distinction between contexts matters, let's expose the 7 specific things you should never reveal. And I want you to think as we go through these. How many have you already shared? How many times have you handed people ammunition without even realizing it? Let's start with the most dangerous one. I'm not sure I'm qualified for this role. I struggle with imposter syndrome constantly. I don't think I'm smart enough to be here. I'm really insecure about my lack of experience in this area. I feel like everyone here is more capable than me. Any statement where you announce your internal doubts, your feelings of inadequacy, your sense that you don't measure up, any revelation of the critical voice in your head that questions your worth or capability. When you reveal your insecurities, you're doing several catastrophic things simultaneously. First, you're announcing your weak points. You're literally telling people, here's where I'm vulnerable. Here's where you can hurt me. Here's where I doubt myself. So if you need to undermine me, or control me, or dismiss me, push here. Second, you're inviting them to question you in that exact area. If you say, I'm not technical enough, suddenly every technical discussion becomes an opportunity for someone to remind you that you're not technical enough. You opened that door. You gave them permission to walk through it. Third, and this is the most insidious part, you're creating a permission structure for dismissal. You're giving people a ready-made excuse to discount your judgment, your input, your authority. And fourth, you're lowering your status voluntarily. You're stepping down the hierarchy without anyone pushing you. You're subordinating yourself without a fight. People will use your own self-assessment against you. If you tell them you're not qualified, they'll believe you. Why shouldn't they? You're the expert on you. If you say you're struggling with imposter syndrome, they won't think, oh, this person is self-aware and growing. They'll think, maybe they actually are an imposter. Let me give you a real example. A marketing manager, brilliant strategist, 6 years of experience, consistently delivered results, was leading a meeting with her team and some senior executives. And they will, especially in interviews, reframe strategically. Don't say, I'm bad at X. Say, I'm actively developing my skills in X. Don't say, I struggle with Y. Say, Y is an area where I'm investing significant time and energy to improve. See the difference? One announces permanent weakness. The other signals active growth. One says, I accept being inferior. The other says, I'm in the process of becoming superior. Self-awareness equals knowing your weaknesses privately and working on them. Self-sabotage equals announcing your weaknesses publicly and hoping people will be nice about it. Powerful people have just as many insecurities as you do, just as much imposter syndrome, just as many moments of self-doubt. The difference? They work through those privately and project confidence publicly. They keep their internal struggles internal. They show the world their competence, not their crisis. And that brings us to the second thing you should never reveal. But you're not building connection. You're creating liability. Because the person you're sharing with isn't your tribe member. They're your competitor, your potential enemy. Someone who will use that information to position themselves above you in the hierarchy. Someone who will file away what you revealed and pull it out when they need leverage. In hierarchical systems, money equals competence signal. It's not fair. It's not right. But it's reality. When you reveal financial struggle, you're broadcasting. I have not been able to create sufficient value in the marketplace. I am failing at the fundamental game of resource acquisition. I am not competent in the ways that matter in capitalism. And more immediately, more tactically, you're announcing you're in a weak negotiating position. You're telling the other party, I need you more than you need me. I will accept worse terms because I'm desperate. You have leverage over me. I cannot walk away. And what do people do when they know you're desperate? When they know you can't walk away? They exploit that position. Not because they're evil, though some are, but because humans are strategic creatures, and we take the deals we can get. Salary negotiation. You mention you've been job searching for months. You really need to get back to work. Maybe you say it to seem honest. Maybe you say it to create sympathy. Either way, what the hiring manager hears is, I will accept less money because I have no other options. They offer you $20,000 less than they would have if you seemed in demand. Business deal. You mention your company is struggling to hit revenue targets this quarter. You really need this contract to close. The buyer hears, I will accept worse terms because I'm desperate. They push for more concessions, longer payment schedules, lower prices. Investment pitch. You mention you're running out of runway. You need capital soon, or you'll have to shut down. The investor hears, I can get equity cheap because they're in crisis mode. They offer predatory terms that you'll regret for years. But it's deeper than just negotiation tactics. There's a psychological phenomenon at play. Wealthy and powerful people unconsciously distance themselves from those in financial crisis. It's not always cruelty, though sometimes it is. Often it's protection. They're protecting themselves from being asked for money, for loans, for handouts, for help. They're protecting themselves from feeling guilty about having more. They're protecting themselves from the discomfort of your situation. So when you reveal financial struggle, you trigger an avoidance response. Suddenly, invitations dry up. Networking opportunities disappear. Mentorship evaporates. Why? Because you've become a potential liability, a potential ask, a potential uncomfortable conversation. Real example. An entrepreneur at an investor dinner mentioned casually, trying to seem transparent and honest, that he was burning through his personal savings while building this company, and it was getting stressful financially. The investor across the table nodded sympathetically, asked intelligent questions, seemed genuinely interested in the business, took the entrepreneur's card, said, let's definitely continue this conversation. Never responded to a single follow-up email. Nothing. Complete ghosting. Why? Because the entrepreneur revealed desperation, and desperate founders make bad investments. If you're struggling financially now, during the easy part, where you're just building the product, how will you handle the real pressure of scaling, of competition, of market shifts? The financial struggle became evidence of inability to execute under stress. Never ever discuss your personal finances in professional contexts. It's nobody's business. It's not relevant to your competence. It's not required for authenticity. Keep it completely private. If asked about salary requirements in an interview, give a range based on market research, not based on your personal needs. Say, based on my research of comparable roles in this market, I'm targeting the 120 to 140,000 range. Not, I need at least 90,000 to cover my rent and debt payments. If you're struggling with a business, frame it strategically. Not, I'm desperate for clients, but I'm selective about partnerships and currently have bandwidth for 2 additional clients. Not, I'm running out of money, but I'm strategically fundraising for our next growth phase. See the difference? One signals desperation. The other signals discernment. One says, I'll take anything. The other says, I'm choosing carefully. Between close friends of truly equal status, financial transparency can be valuable. Split bills fairly. Help each other with opportunities. Be honest about what you can or can't afford in social contexts. With financial advisors, accountants, therapists, professionals bound by confidentiality, necessary transparency is appropriate. But in professional contexts, in hierarchies, in competitive environments, strategic opacity always. Your financial situation is strategic intelligence. Protect it. Now, the third thing people reveal that destroys them. I failed at my last startup. It went under after 2 years. I was fired from my previous job. It didn't work out. I made a massive mistake in my past that cost the company significantly. I used to really struggle with addiction. It was bad. I dropped out of college, couldn't finish. Any past failure or mistake that you mention, without including the lesson learned, the growth achieved, the redemption earned, the triumph that followed. And this is crucial to understand. I'm not saying never mention past failures. Past failure plus redemption arc equals inspiring. Past failure without resolution equals red flag. The framing is everything. The structure is everything. The story matters. Human brains are prediction machines. We're constantly trying to predict future behavior based on past patterns. It's how we survived as a species, by getting good at pattern recognition. That plant killed someone last year. Don't eat it. That person betrayed the tribe before. Don't trust them now. When you reveal a past failure without the redemption, people's brains automatically start running predictions. Will they fail here too? Is this a pattern of behavior? Is this person fundamentally unreliable? Can I trust them with this responsibility? And without evidence to the contrary, without the story of how you learned, changed, grew, and then succeeded, they file you under risky. They categorize you as someone who fails and might fail again. You see this on LinkedIn constantly. Everyone posts vulnerability about past failures now. It's become a genre. But notice something. They always include the triumphant ending. I was fired from my dream job, but it forced me to start the company that just hit 10 million in revenue. I failed 7 times before succeeding, but each failure taught me the lesson I needed for the 8th attempt that worked. I lost everything in 2015, but rebuilding from zero made me the leader I am today. The structure is always dramatic failure, plus dark night of the soul. Lesson learned. Triumphant success. That's why failure is actually good. Never. I failed and I'm still figuring it out. Never. I made a huge mistake and I'm still dealing with the consequences. Never. I have a pattern of failing and I don't know how to fix it. Why? Because incomplete failure stories don't inspire. They warn. They don't create connection. They create distance. They don't build your brand. They destroy it. Classic interview question. Tell me about a time you failed. Bad answer. I failed at managing a team. I was promoted to team lead and it didn't go well. People didn't respect me, and eventually I was moved back to an individual contributor role. Stops there. Interviewer's thought process. So they failed at leadership, got demoted, and are applying for a leadership role here? Pattern, risk, next candidate. Good answer. I was promoted to team lead before I was ready. I made several critical mistakes. I didn't communicate clearly. I micromanaged because I was insecure. I didn't invest in relationship building. The team struggled, and I was moved back to an individual contributor role. That was painful, but it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I spent the next 2 years working with a mentor specifically on leadership skills. I studied team dynamics. I learned to listen rather than control. When I was promoted to team lead again 3 years later, I took an entirely different approach focused on empowerment and clear communication. My team retention rate was 95%, and we exceeded targets by 30%. That early failure taught me that leadership isn't about control. It's about enabling others. See the structure. Specific failure plus specific lessons. Specific changes implemented plus specific successful outcome. Redemption arc. Without the complete arc, you're just announcing risk. Process your failures privately. Extract the lessons. Integrate the learning. Actually do the work of growing from the experience. Then, and only then, if you must mention past failure, include the full redemption arc. Better yet, in most professional contexts, don't volunteer past failures at all. There's no rule that says you must confess every mistake. Strategic opacity includes selectively sharing your history. If directly asked about failure, always structure it. Failure. Lesson. Growth. Success. Never just failure. And if you're still in the failure phase, still figuring it out, still dealing with consequences, say nothing. Process privately. Share only when the story has an ending. The work isn't in crafting the perfect redemption story. The work is in actually learning from failure, actually changing, actually growing. The story takes care of itself if the growth is real. But if you haven't done the internal work, if you're still the same person who made that mistake, then no story structure will save you. Because people sense inauthenticity. They sense when you're performing redemption rather than embodying it. Now here's where it gets controversial. The fourth thing you should never reveal. I'm planning to start my own company in the next year or so. This job is great, but my real passion is in a different field entirely. I'm looking to leave within 6 months, just getting experience first. Honestly, this is temporary until I can do what I really want to do. I'm using this role as a stepping stone to my actual goal. Any statement that reveals your current situation is not your endgame. Any indication that you're planning to leave, pivot, or move on. Any confession that you see this as temporary or transitional, the moment you reveal future plans too early, before you're ready to execute them, before you have the power to protect them, you trigger several destructive dynamics simultaneously. First, people stop investing in you in your current context. Why should your boss spend time mentoring you if you're leaving soon? Why should colleagues share valuable knowledge if you're going to take it to a competitor? Why should clients deepen the relationship if you're transitioning out? Second, you become a flight risk. Every conversation, every project, every opportunity is now filtered through. Will they still be here to see this through? And when the answer is probably not, you stop getting included. Third, and most dangerous, you create competitors who now have advance warning. They can sabotage your plans. They can move faster than you. They can take your ideas and execute them first. They can poison the waters you're planning to swim in. Real example that happens constantly. Junior employee excited about learning tells their senior mentor honestly, "I'm learning so much here. My goal is to start my own consultancy in this space within 2 years. I'm basically building the foundation now." They think they're being transparent, building trust, showing ambition, maybe even creating a future ally. The mentor smiles, says, "That's wonderful, so entrepreneurial, sounds supportive," and then never introduces them to a single valuable client contact, never recommends them for important projects, never shares insider knowledge, never goes the extra mile. The generosity evaporates. Why? Because the mentor just did basic strategic math. If I help this person become excellent, they'll use that excellence to compete with me or my company. Why would I train my own competition? Machiavelli's actual advice from The Prince, paraphrased. Never tell people your plans. Show them your results. Plan in private. Build in secret. Execute in public. Only reveal your intentions when you're already in motion and can't be stopped. Share your ambitions only when you're already executing and momentum is undeniable. You need specific help and the risk is calculated. You're in a position of power and can defend against sabotage. The person has proven loyalty over years. Share too early and you're giving advance warning to anyone who might benefit from stopping you. Modern culture rewards sharing the journey. Build in public. Show the behind the scenes. Take people along for the ride. And this can work for influencers, for content creators, for certain business models. But there's a hidden cost. You're giving competitors your playbook in real time. You're teaching them what works. You're showing them the market you're targeting. You're revealing your strategy before you've captured the territory. You must choose. Do you want validation along the way? Or do you want victory at the end? Most people choose validation. They share every step. They post every milestone. They announce every plan. And then they wonder why competitors beat them to market, why their ideas get stolen, why the results don't match the effort. Keep future plans private until momentum is irreversible. Until you're so far down the path that sharing doesn't matter because you can't be caught. If asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? In a job interview, align your answer with the role you're interviewing for. I see myself growing within this company, taking on increasing leadership responsibility, maybe managing a team. Not, this is a stepping stone to my own venture. Never reveal, this is temporary. Always act as if your current context deserves your full commitment, because while you're there, it should. Build everything in private. Launch publicly. That's the sequence. Now we reach the most controversial one. The one that goes against everything modern culture teaches. Thing number 5. I'm dealing with depression and anxiety. It's been really tough. I have this chronic health condition that flares up unexpectedly. I'm in therapy working through some significant trauma. I take medication for my mental health. My ADHD makes certain things really challenging for me. Any revelation of health vulnerability, physical or mental, in professional or public contexts. This is the most controversial thing on this list. I know that. Because mental health awareness has become a social movement. It's okay to not be okay. End the stigma. Speak your truth. Companies have mental health days. LinkedIn is full of posts about therapy and medication and struggles. And all of that is good, in theory, in the abstract, in the realm of social progress and reducing shame. But there's a massive gap between what we say we believe publicly and what actually happens in hiring decisions, promotion decisions, investment decisions. There's a gap between virtue signaling and reality. And I'm going to tell you the reality. Not because I think it's right, but because ignoring reality doesn't protect you. It destroys you. When you reveal health struggles professionally, several calculations happen immediately in people's minds. Reliability questions. Will they be able to handle pressure? What if they have an episode during our critical quarter? Can they be counted on when things get stressful? Performance concerns. Will this affect their output? Will they need accommodations that slow the team down? Are they going to be stable long-term? Legal liability fears. If we don't promote them, will they claim discrimination? Are we taking on additional HR risk? This makes things complicated. You become risky in their mental calculation. And in competitive environments, when there are other equally qualified candidates without disclosed risks, they choose the safer option. Real example. A marketing director mentioned in a team meeting that she was dealing with some anxiety issues and seeing a therapist to work through them. She was trying to normalize mental health care, trying to be an example of healthy coping. 3 months later, during an incredibly high-pressure campaign launch, a stressed colleague snapped at her, Look, can you handle this? Or is your anxiety going to be a problem? Because we can't afford for you to fall apart right now. Her own disclosure, used as a weapon. Her own vulnerability, turned into a question of competence. At the exact moment she needed support, she was questioned instead. Another example. Engineer includes in his LinkedIn About section his journey with ADHD, how he manages it, how it actually helps him hyper-focus on code, how he's learned to work with his brain rather than against it. Gets 1,000 reactions, all positive, all supportive, all "thank you for sharing this." His notifications explode with admiration. Also gets ghosted by 3 recruiters who had previously reached out about senior engineering positions. No explanation. They just stop responding. Correlation impossible to prove. Causation deniable. But the pattern is clear. Social validation went up. Professional opportunities went down. And I want to be absolutely clear. I am not saying mental health isn't real. I'm not saying don't get help. I'm not saying you should suffer in silence or be ashamed. Get therapy. Get medication. Get support. Do whatever you need to do to be healthy. That's not optional. Your health matters more than your career. What I'm saying is, manage it privately. Get the support in appropriate contexts. Don't broadcast it professionally. Close friends, appropriate vulnerability. Support groups, necessary sharing. Healthcare providers, required transparency. Family, usually appropriate context. Professional contexts, strategic opacity. Manage your health privately and effectively. Take care of yourself. But don't announce it at work. Don't put it on LinkedIn. Don't mention it in professional contexts unless absolutely necessary for accommodation. If you need accommodation, work with HR privately. There are legal protections. Use them. But do it confidentially, not publicly. If you need time off, say personal matter or health issue without specifics. You don't owe people your diagnosis. If someone asks directly, you're allowed to say, "I prefer to keep my health private," or "That's personal." Yes, the Americans with Disabilities Act exists. Yes, you shouldn't be discriminated against based on health conditions. Yes, legally, protections exist. Reality. Proving discrimination is nearly impossible. Companies can always find other reasons. Cultural fit. Not the right experience. We went with a stronger candidate. The real reason never appears on paper. Reality. Legal protections don't prevent people from thinking differently about you once they know. Reality. Strategic opacity protects you better than laws. I'm not advocating shame. I'm not saying health struggles make you weak. I'm saying that in competitive environments, information is weaponized, and health information, fair or not, right or not, gets weaponized against you. Protect yourself. Get the help you need privately. Thrive professionally publicly. Now, the 6th thing that destroys people. My marriage is really struggling right now. We're talking about separation. I'm going through a terrible divorce. It's consuming everything. My family is a complete mess. So much drama with my parents. I'm having major issues with my teenager. It's affecting everything. My relationship with my partner is complicated. We're basically roommates. Any revelation of personal relationship chaos, family dysfunction, romantic problems, or domestic turmoil. Personal drama signals multiple red flags simultaneously. Emotional instability, fairly or not. If their personal life is chaos, will they bring that chaos here? Divided attention. Will they be able to focus on work with all this going on? Potential performance impact. Is this going to affect their output and reliability? Gossip target. This is interesting information. Let me tell others. Unprofessional boundaries. Why are they telling me this? This is uncomfortable. There's an invisible boundary in professional contexts. It's not written down. It's not taught explicitly, but everyone feels it when it's crossed. That boundary is, we're colleagues, not family. We're professional associates, not intimate friends. We can be friendly without being friends. We can be kind without being confidants. When you share family drama, you violate that boundary, and people don't know how to respond. They feel uncomfortable. They feel trapped. What am I supposed to say to this? Why are they telling me this? How do I get out of this conversation? And that discomfort creates distance, not connection. And here's the harsh truth about workplaces. They run on gossip. Information spreads. Stories get told. Your personal drama becomes entertainment. Did you hear about what's going on with Name's marriage? Apparently, they're going through a terrible divorce. No wonder they've seemed distracted lately. You become the story. You become the subject of break room conversation. You become known, not for your professional competence, but for your personal problems. And once that happens, your professional credibility takes a hit. Because now everything you do gets interpreted through the lens of your personal drama. Late to a meeting? Probably the divorce. Stressed response to feedback? Personal life affecting work. Forget something. Distracted by family issues. VP of operations at a manufacturing company. 10 years with the company. Solid track record. Respected leader. During a leadership retreat designed to build deeper connections, she shared during a vulnerable moment that she was going through a very difficult divorce and might seem distracted sometimes because of everything happening at home. She thought she was being honest, setting expectations, being human with her team. The group responded supportively. We're here for you. Take all the time you need. It felt good. 3 months later, major expansion opportunity, new facility, significant investment, high-stakes project. She was the obvious choice to lead it. During the decision meeting, the CEO said, "Given everything she's dealing with personally, are we sure she can handle the additional stress of this expansion? Maybe we should give it to someone who can give it their full attention." Her personal life, used to question her professional capacity, her vulnerability, turned into evidence of inability. She didn't get the project. She never knew the real reason. The CEO certainly never said, "We didn't give it to you because of your divorce." He said, "We decided to go in a different direction." But she could sense it, the shift, the distance, the way people looked at her differently. And this is important to note. The impact is different based on gender, fairly or not. Men who share relationship drama, seen as unprofessional, weak, bringing personal issues to work. Women who share relationship drama, seen as emotional, unstable, allowing personal life to interfere with professional capacity. Both lose credibility. But women lose more. It's a double standard. It's unfair. It's reality. Process personal relationship issues privately, with friends outside of work, with family, with therapists, with people who are actually in your intimate circle and have earned that access. Never with coworkers, never with bosses, never in professional contexts, not at the office, not at networking events, not on LinkedIn, nowhere in your professional sphere. If divorce or relationship changes affect your schedule, say, "I'm dealing with a personal matter that requires some schedule flexibility. I'll ensure all work commitments are met." That's it. No details, no explanations. If someone asks directly, it's completely appropriate to say, "I prefer to keep my professional and personal life separate. I appreciate your understanding." That's not cold. That's not being closed off. That's maintaining healthy boundaries. Very close work friend of many years. Someone you'd be friends with even if you didn't work together. Maybe. But even then, be selective. Can the friendship survive if you end up competing for the same promotion? Will the information stay confidential? Usually the answer is, it's not worth the risk. Now, the final thing people reveal that destroys their power. Thing number 7. I really hope you like this. Please let me know if this is okay. I'm so worried about what people will think. I need everyone to be okay with this decision. Did I do good? Was it all right? I need your approval before I proceed. Any statement that signals you need external validation. Any indication that your confidence depends on their approval. Any revelation that you're seeking permission rather than making decisions. Seeking approval signals several fatal weaknesses simultaneously. Lack of internal authority. I don't trust my own judgment. Subordinate psychology. I need permission from the authority figure. Manipulability. I can be controlled through withholding or granting approval. Low status behavior. I'm below you in the hierarchy. Unstable decision-making. My decisions depend on consensus rather than analysis. Leaders decide, then move forward. They might consult. They might gather input. But they decide internally and then execute. Followers seek consensus, then decide based on what others think. They need permission. They need validation. They need approval before they can proceed. When you signal that you need their approval, you signal that you're a follower, and they treat you accordingly. They treat you as someone to be managed, not someone who manages. And here's where it gets really dark. Once people know you need their approval, they have control over you. They can withhold approval to control your behavior. Well, I'm not sure about this. You scramble to modify everything. They can grant approval selectively to reward compliance. Now you're getting it right. You become trained like a dog. They can use your need for validation as a lever. If you want me to approve this, you'll need to. You compromise on things that matter. Your need for their validation becomes their strings to puppeteer you. Graphic designer presenting concepts to a client. Instead of presenting with confidence, here's the solution to your problem based on the brief and my professional expertise. They present with desperation. I really hope you like these. I worked so hard on them. Please let me know if they're okay or if I need to change everything. What just happened? The designer signaled that they need the client's approval more than they need fair compensation. They've handed over all the power. The client senses this, maybe not consciously, but they sense the neediness. And what does the client do? Asks for endless revisions. Let's try 17 different color schemes. Can you redo this in completely different style? I'm not quite feeling it yet. Keep working on it. Pays late. Doesn't respect boundaries. Makes unreasonable demands. Nickel and dimes on the price. Why? Because the designer already signaled that approval matters more than payment. That validation matters more than respect. That being liked matters more than being compensated fairly. Pay attention to how different status levels sound. High status. Here's the solution. Mid status. What do you think of this approach? Low status. I hope this is okay. Please like it. Did I do good? Your words position you in the hierarchy instantly. Before they even evaluate the quality of your work, they've categorized your status based on how you presented it. Some people make approval seeking their entire personality. Every decision runs through others first. Every choice needs validation. Every action requires permission. Should I take this job? What do you think? Is this outfit okay? Be honest. Did I handle that meeting right? How did I do? Should I be offended by what they said? Tell me how to feel. They never develop an internal compass. They never learn to trust their own judgment. They remain perpetually dependent on external validation. They remain perpetually subordinate. Make decisions from internal authority. Build your internal compass through self-knowledge. What do I actually value? Shadow work. Why do I need approval? Testing decisions. Make small ones independently. Build confidence. Results focus. Evaluate based on outcomes, not on whether people liked it. When presenting work or decisions, not, I hope this is okay, but, based on X analysis, this is the optimal approach. Not, what do you think? But, here's the plan. I'm open to feedback on execution. Not, please approve this. But, moving forward on this unless I hear concerns by Friday. See the shift? Same information. Completely different status signal. Why do you need approval? Where does this come from? Usually childhood. conditional love based on achievement, performance-based acceptance, love that depended on being good or successful or making parents proud. That little kid is still inside you, desperately seeking approval from every authority figure they encounter. Every boss becomes mom or dad. Every authority figure becomes the parent you're trying to please. Until you heal that wound, you'll keep seeking that approval. From bosses, from clients, from social media, from anyone who represents authority. Heal the wound. Stop seeking the approval. Build internal validation. From, do you think this is good? Seeking validation. 2. This is the solution based on these criteria. Providing leadership. That shift in a single sentence changes everything. It changes how you're perceived, how you're treated, how much power you hold. Those are the 7 things, 7 categories of information that, once revealed, permanently alter how people see you and treat you. But why do these 7 things destroy you? What's the deeper principle at work? Let's go there now. So, we've covered the 7 things you should never reveal. But I need to address the tension you might be feeling. Because modern culture has taught you that authenticity means sharing everything. That vulnerability means revealing everything. That openness means hiding nothing. And what I've just told you contradicts all of that. So either I'm wrong, or culture is teaching you something dangerous. Let me show you the third path. The path beyond the false binary. Culture presents you with 2 options. Option A. Be authentic. Share everything. Your mess is your message. Vulnerability is strength. Radical transparency. Radical openness. Option B. Be fake. Share nothing. Build walls. Put on a mask. Be inauthentic. Be closed off. And then culture says, choose authenticity. Be vulnerable. Share your truth. But this is a false binary. These aren't your only 2 options. There's a third path that's far more sophisticated, far more strategic, far more powerful. You can be genuinely authentic in your values, your character, your principles, while being strategically selective about what information you share, with whom, when, and why. You can be truly yourself, while understanding that different contexts require different levels of disclosure. You can be real, while recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your full depth. This isn't contradiction. This is sophistication. This is wisdom. This is integration. Think of your life as concentric circles. Each circle represents a different level of relationship and appropriate disclosure. Circle 1, core self, you alone. Your deepest fears, your unprocessed thoughts, your raw, unfiltered truth. This is yours alone. You don't even share all of this with your therapist. Circle 2, intimate circle. 2 to 5 people maximum. Your partner, your best friend of 20 years, your therapist, maybe 1 or 2 others who have earned deep trust over years. These people can know the 7 things. They've earned it. The relationship is reciprocal. The trust is proven. Circle 3, close friends, 15 to 20 people. Some vulnerability is appropriate here. You can share struggles with redemption arcs. You can share some personal information, but still, strategic selectiveness applies. Circle 4, acquaintances, 50 to 100 people. Surface level sharing, positive information, neutral facts, professional boundaries maintained. Circle 5, professional public, everyone else, strangers, colleagues, industry contacts, social media followers, LinkedIn connections, competitors, strategic opacity required. The 7 things never disclosed here. Curated authentic self only. They share Circle 1 and Circle 2 information with Circle 5 people. They give intimate access to strangers and competitors. They confuse platforms with intimacy. They treat LinkedIn like therapy. They treat networking events like support groups. Here's what's fascinating. The most authentic people on social media, the ones posting constantly about their struggles, their vulnerabilities, their raw truth, often have the least authentic lives. They're performing vulnerability for validation. They're trading real intimacy for public approval. They're addicted to the dopamine of likes and comments. True authenticity exists in private relationships where there's no audience, where there's no performance, where there's no like button, where two people see each other fully because they've earned that right over years. Public vulnerability is often performance, not authenticity. Here's what's fascinating. The most authentic people on social media, the ones posting constantly about their struggles, their vulnerabilities, their raw truth, often have the least authentic lives. They're performing vulnerability for validation. They're trading real intimacy for public approval. They're addicted to the dopamine of likes and comments. True authenticity exists in private relationships where there's no audience, where there's no performance, where there's no like button, where two people see each other fully because they've earned that right over years. Public vulnerability is often performance, not authenticity. You can be genuinely kind, core value, while strategically selective about what you reveal, tactical wisdom. Truly confident, internal reality, while carefully managing information flow, external strategy. Authentically yourself, character, while understanding context matters, sophistication. This isn't contradiction. This is maturity. This is the integration of authenticity and strategy. You don't have to choose between being real and being powerful. You can be both. You just have to understand that different contexts require different levels of disclosure. With your intimate circle, full transparency. They've earned it. With everyone else, strategic authenticity. You're genuinely you. You're just selective about which information you share. Now, how do you actually implement this? How do you rewire the oversharing habit? Let me give you the protocol. The 21-day strategic opacity protocol. So you understand the 7 things now. You see why revealing them destroys your power. But understanding intellectually and changing behavior are 2 completely different things. You've been oversharing for years, maybe decades. It's a habit. It's wired into your nervous system. It's reinforced by culture. You can't just decide to stop. You need a protocol, a system, a methodical approach to rewiring the pattern. Here's the 21-day audit. Week 1, awareness. Days 1-7. Goal. Notice when you're about to reveal the 7 things. Just notice. No judgment. Just awareness. Carry a small notebook or use your phone notes app. Every time you catch yourself about to share one of the 7 things, your insecurities, financial struggles, past failures without redemption, future plans too early, health issues, relationship drama, need for approval, write it down. But don't share it. Just catch it. Observe the urge. Feel where it comes from in your body. Notice what triggered it. I was about to tell my colleague about my anxiety issues because she seemed stressed too, and I wanted to connect. I almost mentioned my financial struggle in this meeting because I felt defensive about my choices. I nearly sought approval by asking, "Did I do good?" but caught myself. Just awareness. That's week 1. You'll be amazed at how often the urge arises, how powerful the pull is to overshare. Week 2, substitution, days 8-14. Goal. Replace revelations with strategic alternatives. When tempted to share, consciously choose different language. When tempted to share insecurity, share competence or active growth instead. Not, "I'm not qualified for this," but "I'm actively building expertise in this area." When tempted to share financial struggle, share selectiveness instead. Not, "I'm broke right now," but "I'm strategic about opportunities I pursue." When tempted to share past failure, share lesson learned instead. Not, "I failed at that startup," but "I learned crucial lessons from building that startup. Here's what that experience taught me." When tempted to share future plans too early, share present excellence instead. Not, "I'm planning to leave in 6 months," but "I'm focused on delivering exceptional results on this current project." When tempted to share health issues, maintain privacy instead. Not, I'm struggling with anxiety, but I'm managing a personal matter. When tempted to share relationship drama, maintain boundaries instead. Not, my marriage is falling apart, but I prefer to keep my personal life private. When tempted to seek approval, project authority instead. Not, I hope this is okay, but here's the approach based on these criteria. Week 3, integration, days 15-21. Goal, strategic opacity becomes natural, not forced. You're no longer white-knuckling restraint. You're genuinely comfortable with boundaries. By week 3, something shifts internally. The urge to overshare weakens. You're not constantly fighting yourself. It starts to feel natural to maintain strategic opacity. You understand in your bones why this matters. You feel the difference in how people treat you. You're not suppressing your truth. You're choosing wisely where to place it. You're not hiding. You're being sovereign. What you'll notice. During the 21 days, days 1 to 7, how often you almost reveal these things, probably shocking. How strong the biological urge is to overshare. How much you've been giving away without realizing discomfort from restraint. Your ego doesn't like it. Days 8 to 14. People treating you slightly differently. More respect, more space, more curiosity. Fewer invasive questions, because you're not inviting them. More control over conversations. You're setting the terms. Growing confidence in your judgment. You're trusting yourself more. Days 15-21. Strategic opacity. Feeling natural rather than forced. Internal validation. Strengthening. You need external approval less. External perception shifting. People see you differently. Power dynamics changing in your favor. You hold more leverage. This 21-day protocol isn't just about not sharing certain information. It's about fundamentally shifting your relationship with approval, with validation, with your sense of self. When you stop revealing your insecurities publicly, you stop reinforcing them internally. When you stop seeking approval constantly, you start building internal validation. When you stop oversharing, you start respecting your own boundaries. Your external behavior rewires your internal narrative. Your words literally create your reality. After 21 days, continue with these 3 questions before sharing anything personal. Who needs to know this? Only share with people who have a legitimate need or right to know. What's my purpose in sharing? Connection? Seeking validation? Strategic advantage? Be honest. Could this be weaponized against me? In competitive contexts, assume yes, unless proven otherwise. If you can't answer these 3 questions satisfactorily, don't share. Now, the final truth. The thing that ties everything together. Every interaction is an information exchange. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every relationship involves information flow in both directions. And in that exchange, the person who reveals less while learning more has the advantage. The person who maintains strategic opacity while gathering intelligence holds the power. The person who protects their information while others freely give theirs away wins the long game. This isn't cynical. This isn't paranoid. This is reality. Information is power in the modern world. Data is currency. Privacy is a strategic asset. And you've been giving yours away for free in the name of authenticity, while everyone else has been quietly taking notes, building files, gathering leverage. The 7 things we covered today: your insecurities, announcing your weak points, your financial struggles, signaling your desperation, your past failures without redemption, predicting your future failures, your future plans too early, giving advance warning to competitors, your health issues, creating reliability questions, your relationship drama, becoming the gossip subject, your desperate need for approval, handing over the puppet strings. These aren't just personal facts. These aren't just honest revelations. These aren't just vulnerable truths. They're strategic intelligence. They're ammunition. They're weapons that can and will be used against you in the moments that matter most. People aren't passively listening to you share. They're actively building a psychological profile. Every vulnerability you reveal, every struggle you confess, every weakness you expose, every need you admit. It all goes into a file, a mental file, sometimes a literal one, and that file determines how they treat you, what opportunities they offer you, how much power they grant you, whether they see you as an asset or a liability, whether they respect you or pity you, whether they fear you or dismiss you. From this moment forward, you have a choice. Continue giving away your strategic intelligence freely. Continue oversharing in the name of authenticity. Continue revealing the 7 things that destroy your power. Or start protecting your information, like the strategic asset it is. Start practicing strategic opacity. Start building the boundaries that create mystery, respect, and power. The authentic you still exists. The real you is still there. The vulnerable human being with struggles and fears and weaknesses. That's still you. Nothing I've said changes that. What changes is who gets access to that depth. Who has earned the right to see the full you. Who deserves to know the 7 things. Not everyone earns it. Not every context requires it. Not every relationship deserves it. Circle 1-2. Full transparency with people who've proven themselves over years. Circle 3-5. Strategic authenticity with everyone else. That's not being fake. That's being wise. That's not being cold. That's being sovereign. This information isn't for everyone. It's for the part of you that's tired of being vulnerable and getting burned. The part that's sick of sharing authentically and watching others weaponize it. The part that's exhausted from performing emotional labor for people who haven't earned your depth. The part that's done oversharing and then regretting it. If you've ever shared something personal and immediately wished you could take it back. If you've ever had your own words used against you. If you've ever wondered why being authentic keeps backfiring on you professionally. Don't subscribe to this channel because I'm asking you to. Subscribe because you've made a decision. A decision that your information is valuable. That your privacy is power. That your boundaries matter. That strategic opacity isn't dishonesty. It's sovereignty. Welcome to Mind Hacking Hub, where we build the psychological architecture that protects your power while maintaining your authenticity. Where we understand that information is currency and privacy is strength. Where we know that not everyone deserves access to your depth. The information war is real, and now you're no longer unarmed.